Hi, and welcome to the third part of our presentations on the Industrial Revolution. These are notes 11, 1C. This is, of course, Mr. Marks, and this presentation is largely going to talk about the new technology that led to the Industrial Revolution, as well as some of the notable inventors that are a part of it. This, if you remember, was also the fourth reason why Great Britain was the leader when it came to the Industrial Revolution. It was really one of the first countries to industrialize this way. If it is important for you to remember what the other three things are as well, so make sure that you have that in the back of your mind. Probably the most important part, the most important tool was developed by Thomas Newcomen. Um, there are all sorts of inventions which are made. Okay, we have the seed drill, we have the spinning jenny, we have iron smelting, are all new technologies. But above them all, the thing that really makes the Industrial Revolution what it is going to be the steam engine, and that's what Thomas Newcomen brings. He first develops it back in 1712, so way before even the American Revolution. By firing coal and getting the temperature up hot enough, he's able to create a system of levers and pulleys, which make this first steam engine. And basically, he made it for the purpose of pumping water. The person that's usually credited with the modern steam engine, or the steam engine that pushed forward the Industrial Revolution, is James Watt. He comes along and he improves on Newcomen's design. You see, Newcomen's design had a chamber where steam entered and would get hot and then cold. That it wasn't so well contained inside that one chamber. It wasn't perfectly sealed. And that wasted a lot of energy just heating that chamber up. It also had the problem of keeping that cylinder hot as the steam entered into it. So it's got those. It basically is having a lot of problems with just a lot of leakage of heat. James Watt encases the steam engine. He makes it so there are cooling systems around it. He makes it so it's more contained with the heavier containment. It's able to handle a great deal more pressure, and by being able to handle that extra pressure, it's able to produce more power and thus be used in many more applications. So making it steam tight, making it insulated, just basically made for a better steam engine. It'll be Watt's engine that will be used in many different applications after that. Now, along the lines of Watt, one of the really important people of this time is Abraham Darby. And as mentioned here, in 1790, he invents a new method of producing iron. Now, we were already well into the Iron Age. Iron, as we mentioned back last semester, it's an important it's an important metal to use, largely because it's so plentiful, and it's a lot stronger than the other metals that are easily manipulated. The problem is that iron, it's when you get iron out of the ground, it's filled with different imperfections, and the biggest problem that you have is getting those imperfections out. Often you see blacksmiths, they're beating on the metal with hammers. That's what they're trying to do, is beat the imperfections out and keep what's left as just the pure iron. Abraham Darby came up with a way of making molds in sand, that if you were able to use coal in order to heat the fire hot enough, you were able to just put the liquid metal out on the sand, and the impurities would literally just drain right out of this. This process is called smelting. Smelting is the process that's separating iron from its ore. And Darby was capable of just being able to smelt on a much larger scale. This made the mass production of iron possible. When you get rid of those impurities, you're also making iron stronger than it ever was before. With less impurities, it gets even stronger. So Darby's new system allows for much taller buildings because this stronger iron is able to support that weight, and it's able to make for those stronger chambers around the steam engines, which will make it so they're able to produce even more power. It'll make for materials which the steam engines can now move, which won't allow more transfer of that power. There's a lot of things. Basically, he just made it so iron was able to support more weight, was stronger, was capable of doing more things, and was able to be produced on a much larger scale. Mass production is one of the keys behind the Industrial Revolution. This is what brings about what we think of when we usually think of steam engines, and that is locomotion or locomotives. Ironically, the first steam engines used for transportation were done on steam engine wagons, what we'd almost think of as more cars. It was found to be too inefficient, was too easy for the wheels to get stuck into places, for other sorts of problems, until somebody figured out to put these these iron wheels, sorry, not steel, these iron wheels onto rails. And with the Darby's new invention or new smelting technique, iron was able to be produced enough that they could make rail lines out of iron for great distances in order to use now these machines in order to take things from one place to the other. The steam engines were put onto boats, making for paddle boats, which were able to now go upstream almost as fast as you were able to move downstream before. Basically, making it so goods could be moved quicker from one location to the other is a major push behind the Industrial Revolution. The steam engine, though, didn't first see its way into trains or into boats. It actually was first used to power looms. This was a huge change to how everything worked. This was the revolution of the textile industry. The old way to produce garments was to obtain the raw materials, such as cotton, then to distribute it to a bunch of different peasants for them to weave. You'd have peasants bringing in the cotton and peasants weaving it into thread, or spinning it into thread and then weaving it into garments. With the Industrial Revolution, you have machines such as the spinning jenny, the machine over there on the left, which is able to make take a whole bunch of that raw material and turn it into thread. Or the flying shuttle on the right, though that's a much more modern version of it. These early machines were too large to be in a single person's home, and that's going to be another reason why we're going to have a real change, this revolution again, this real change in the way that people are dealing with their lives, largely because these machines, which are now necessary in order to compete with other people, in order to mass produce, and thus produce things quicker, and because you're able to produce them quicker, you're producing them cheaper. In order to make that, you have to house them in large buildings, and that's going to be a huge change to the way that people are living their lives. And we'll talk about that in the next presentation.